Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Clear Lake in Review. This week we're observing the centennial celebration of the Moe Lutheran Church at rural Clear Lake. Guests today are Julia Olson, the oldest continuous member of the Moe Lutheran Church, Berna Johnson, Mabel Johnson, Manda and Rudy Larson, Marie Oman, and Edhard Olson. Today's program is brought to you with the best wishes of the Hammer Furniture Store and Funeral Home in Clear Lake. On June 8, 1874, Reverend O.O. Dolan, pastor of the East Emmanuel Lutheran Church, walked 14 miles from the parsonage in Blackbrook Township to the home of Ole Johnson, sometimes recorded as Ole Crossbakken, near Pineville. And this was the first recorded service for what was to become the Moe Lutheran Church. And I have many of the members, longtime members of the Moe Lutheran Church as our guests today on Clear Lake in Review, and we're going to be talking primarily about many of their memories as members of the church and some of the things that stand out in their minds as being important parts of the history of the Moe Lutheran Church. So I think we're going to start the program today. I'm just going to toss out the question to you. As you know, what are some of the things that you remember as being important in the early history of the Moe Lutheran Church? Mrs. Olson, you're one of the oldest members, 89 years old, oldest continuous member from Moe Lutheran. What do you remember as your part of the church back when you were a child? What was the church like when you started going to church there?
It wasn't where it's now. They built another one. Uh-huh.
Where was the first location of the Moe Lutheran Church?
Across the road from where it is now.
Across the road.
I see. Mm-hmm. And when was the change to the present location?
July 30th, 1884. There was a second church.
I see. Berna, what do you remember as some of the early things with the church?
Oh, I remember that we had Bible school in that church down by the cemetery. We had 4 weeks, sometimes 6, of Bible school from 9 to 4. And I was going to grade school, of course, and Bible school started before grade school was out. So Dad came, I stayed with my sister, and my dad came and said, you have to go to Bible school. That's more important. So I had to quit grade school and go to Bible school. Now I walked 2.5 miles back and forth.
When was this? Do you remember what years offhand?
Oh, maybe about 1912. About 1912.
I see. Mrs. Olson, when you started going to church there, how big was the congregation? How many people went to church at Moe Lutheran?
Not very many.
I see.
No.
Were there mostly, I was thinking, one nationality of people that have gone to Moe Lutheran?
Yeah.
They were all Norwegian.
I see. Has the Norwegian culture of the people carried through with many of your activities through the church, Mabel?
I would say so. Pretty much, I think.
Such as? What kind?
We have Lutefisk suppers. We have those try to have them every fall. And we had the 17th of May doings when we have Norwegian foods. We try to.
Amanda, you came to Moe Lutheran 1920s. What are some of your remembrances and Rudy's remembrances of the church when you started to go there?
Well, when I started to go there, well, he was a young man. Had something to do with that. And I came there. I attended services from 1924 and 1925 and up, but I didn't become a member until 1931 when we were married.
Rudy, I see today you're wearing a button, "Kiss me, I'm a Norwegian." I guess that should have been what gave away the history of Moe Lutheran. What were some of the things that you saw as the Norwegian background of the church?
Well, I didn't see too much of the Norwegian, but the Swedish background was good. Oh, it was... I don't know. I didn't see too much those years, you know. In that age, you don't see too much. I was looking at her most of the time.
I see. I see.
You didn't that early.
Marie, how about some of your remembrances of when you were young and went to Moe Lutheran?
Well, I remember going to Sunday school and to a religious school in Moe, and we had to walk them days. It's the only way to get there, really. And I walked about, what would it be, about 5-6 miles anyway, that we had to walk.
How big of an area did Moe Lutheran serve back in the early 1900s? So how far did people come to go to church there?
Oh, they must have come, I'd say, an area of, wouldn't you say, about 8 or 10 miles around? I'd say.
Ed, what are some of your remembrances of the church? Moe Lutheran is the oldest church in the Clear Lake area and has a long history of continuous church membership. What do you remember from your early years at Moe Lutheran?
Well, I remember when John Peterson was pastor there, we had choir practice down to Gus Lee's in the home, and there was 49 of us present at that choir practice, and Reverend Peterson said, when we get 50, we're going to take a picture, but we never reached it.
Stayed at 49.
We stayed at 49.
Many of the things that are part of the church, the organ, the church itself, has happened within your lifetimes. Can any of you tell some of the work behind what's there as Moe Lutheran today?
Well, the first bell they had.
Could you tell us about the bell?
The first bell, the young people bought the first bell that was when the church was built. And the first time they rung it, that was the last time as it cracked.
What was the problem?
I see, the first time that bell was rung, it was also the last time as the bell cracked, so they couldn't use it anymore. And then they bought another bell after that, which is still there today in the church.
I see. What kind of activities did you have for buying the organ that you bought in 1949? Was that an entire church effort to be able to do this?
The Luther League, wasn't it? Luther League, I think, paid for it.
We had the money that we took in at our Luther League, every other month was given to the organ fund.
Every other Sunday. Every
other Sunday. Yeah.
What are some of the activities of the church right now, as far as the organizations for the young people, the organizations for different factors within the church? What kind of things are part of the church today?
Well, they have circles, and they have the ladies' aid, and choir practice, both for the older ones and for the younger ones, and also for the little ones that's in kindergarten, and they're really doing good, the little ones especially. And I don't know if there's any more organizations, do you?
Well, there's a good Sunday school. Yeah. I'm so interested in Sunday school because I was Sunday school superintendent for quite a few years. And we did lots of things at that time. We at that time, we could take a school bus and take the oldest children on a tour. We went to Minneapolis and to Augsburg. That's our church seminary college. Mm-hmm. And we'd take them to several places. We'd take them to the capital, and we'd end up at Augsburg, and they'd take us around, and then we'd have dinner there. And they really enjoyed it. And we did, too. Teachers.
Mabel, what are some of the social experiences that you remember with your years in the church as far as, friendships and families getting together and, with the basis of the church?
We went to everything. And we always walked. We had services, and then we had Luther League and Sunday school. Mm-hmm. And, our Sunday school, we used to have parties at Christmas time, and we had a wonderful time. The first time that we have graded system, would you like to have? Sure. Was when John Peterson was our pastor. Before that, we just had the catechism and Bible history, but then we got our graded system. So there was a book for every grade, but some of them are a little bit difficult. They're above the children. Mm-hmm. But it was good.
Mrs. Olson, what kind of things do you enjoy doing now with the church? What does the church mean to your life? It's been a part of your life for many, many years. What does it mean to you now?
Choir practice and singing.
Were you in the choir?
No, I wasn't. I was many years ago, but not lately.
I see. Were you one of the original members of the choir?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Manda, how about to your family, the importance of the church?
Well, it's meant a lot to them because they were all baptized, confirmed, and married in church. We had 4 daughters. I see. And they attended Sunday school and taught Bible school and helped along with any work they could through their years.
Rudy, what do you want to see for the centennial for the Moe Lutheran Church? What kind of things do you think are important for the centennial year? Is there anything particular that you would like to see the church do as part of the celebration?
I'd like to see it grow a little more, for one thing.
What's the membership of the church right now?
I don't know how many families we have, but I'd say from 85 to 95 or something like that. Mm-hmm.
Marie, how about you? What would you like to see as centennial activities at the church?
Well, that they could have, they could all get together and meet there for their, when they have their confirmation reunion, and for different reunions like that, they could all get there. It would be nice.
How about you, Ed?
Well, I'm on that centennial committee, and I have an awful time getting any material on when Norway got their independence, and I know it was in May 1814. But I've got quite a few Norwegian songs lined up.
Mm-hmm. Is the church going to be having more of their celebration later this summer and fall? Can you give us kind of a preview of some of the things?
Of the coming things?
Yeah, of the Moe Lutheran Centennial.
Well, they're going to have a confirmation reunion, and I think they plan on having all the former pastors.
It's a little bit after the community centennial.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you very much for being my guest today on Clear Lake in Review. Berna Johnson, Julia Olson, who was the oldest continuous member of the Moe Lutheran Church congregation at Clear Lake, Mabel Johnson, Manda and Rudy Larson, Marie Oman, and Ed Olson. Thank you for being my guest today on Clear Lake in Review. This is Evie Nurbin reporting for this week's edition of Clear Lake in Review.
Say